What is up, you amazing people? It is I, Nima, and today I want to talk about a game I've been playing for the last week, and that game is called Thirsty Suitors. Now, just one quick little heads up for anybody who's interested. After the review, I'm just going to do a quick channel update and just kind of let you guys know what's going on. But anyway, on to the main event, Thirsty Suitors. If you haven't played it or haven't heard about this game, then you're definitely going to want to pay attention, because this game is one of those that could either be boring to some people or really fun and engaging to other people. So in this game, you play as Jala. Now, aside from being the answer to what type of girls is Nima into, this punk princess has left quite a path of destruction behind her. It seems like in her teen years, she wasn't the most thoughtful or caring, and she just found herself jumping from partner to partner, really without taking the time to add closure for those that she had just ended a relationship with. So as we join this caramel-skinned goddess, she's on her way back to her hometown, where she plans to mend broken bridges and to also make another relationship work, one that is far more important to her, one with her sister. You see, 3 years ago, Jala just left. She up and left her entire family without really even speaking a word to anybody. She had moved on, she found a new love, and she was ready to run away from everything that her hometown had, namely her past and her past mistakes. But at the same time, she also just blocked out her entire family, including her sister. Now, over the last 3 years, her sisters tried to call her, tried to make amends, tried to even tell her that she's getting married, and Jala just didn't reply, didn't call back. I'm guessing it's one of those things like when you miss enough school, it's like really hard to go back, or like with work, you know? And as somebody who had a semester where he was taking Algebra 2 and only went to the class 3 times, I can definitely sympathize with this avoiding thing. I'm an avoider from way back, so I get where Jala's coming from. But she's decided that she's got to make things right. Enough running, she's going back to her hometown and she's going to fix all of these relationships. Now the thing is, all of her exes are not in a place where they want to forgive her, and they are not exactly happy to see her again. So while she's trying to live up to her mom's expectations, patch the relationship with her sister, she's also got to battle her evil exes. Now if this sounds like Scott Pilgrim, where Ramona actually did some of her own dirty work, then you'd be right. That's exactly what this game feels like, but if I'm being honest, a little bit better for me. I would love a Scott Pilgrim remake to be a lot like this game. Now hold on. I know some of you purists out there, some of the people who just absolutely love Scott Pilgrim, hear me out just a second. You see, I'm not good at beat 'em ups, and a lot of people aren't. And to actually experience the entire game of Scott Pilgrim, you have to be really good at beat 'em ups. And so this is, for me, just a little bit easier. It's a little bit more digestible. And since it's not like a fast-paced beat-em-up game, you don't have to watch a movie or read books to actually know the backstory of why these evil exes are trying to get their revenge. Now, before I go on, I'm not going to try to compare this game to Scott Pilgrim, and I'm definitely not going to say one is better than the other, because that's not really what I'm doing here. I'm more just explaining that this shares a lot of parallels with Scott Pilgrim, but for me is a little bit more digestible, because it is turn-based combat. So there's more time for dialogue. There's more time for there to be like an inner monologue as well to tell you what's going on. But not just that, this also has quick time events as well. So when you input a certain move or an action or a skill or something like that, you will have to do a quick time event that will determine how successful you are at attacking, getting a crit, or even blocking in most instances. And honestly, I do like that aspect of it because I do love turn-based combat, but sometimes it can get a little bit stale. So having those like quick time events, those little button combinations you got to do, just kind of keeps things lively. But it's not just about that. You see, you also have a decent amount of strategy in this game because you can use these things called taunts where you can affect your enemy with a certain debuff. Now, it can be something like enraging them, or it can be making them sad. All of these things can affect their health, their defense, their attack, or even if they're able to act on their turn. Now, the other cool aspect of the game is the skills. So they start off pretty basic and then grow to be quite devastating. But the thing that's cool about them is they also run in line with your taunts and the debuffs that could be happening. So if you make an enemy thirsty, for instance, there's a skill set for thirst enemies, or enemies who are thirsty, and you'll do extra damage. And this is one of those games that you want to use your skill points or your magic or whatever you want to call it. You want to use it pretty quickly, and your normal attacks will do damage and recover your MP, and it recovers quite a bit of it. So you're not in a position where you feel like you have to rely on items to replenish your magic. So drain that MP like I wish Jala would drain my feelings of inadequacy. But aside from being just a total badass, the future Miss Nima is also a great skater and has the ability to go through different skate challenges. So if you feel like you want that Tony Hawk aspect in a game, you have that too. And just to be clear, when we wrap things up, the combat feels a lot like South Park, the free roaming feels like Tony Hawk, and the story feels like Scott Pilgrim. This is an amazing combo, much like Nima and Jala, though this game does have a lot more than just that as well, because the dialogue, the conversations, it's its own little game, and depending how you answer will also give you skill points towards either your attack, your HP, your defense, things like that. And this is separated in 3 different categories. It's Heartbreaker, Star, and Bohemian. Basically, aside from how you actually fight and level up that way, you also level up through conversations at times. And it just gives you an extra little perk to kind of pay attention to how you're answering and how you want to form your character. And all of this combined just feels like this engaging, immersive, really fun adventure with a purple-haired gift from the gods. No, seriously though, there is a lot to this game. And even past all of that stuff, there's cooking. So you don't have to worry about buying yourself health items. In fact, the cooking plays a pretty major role in the game, as once you start to make up with some of your exes, they'll ask you for favors and they'll ask you to make certain foods for them. Or you can take that time to really have conversations with your parents and try to mend the relationship between you and your mom. So whether you're trying to rebuild relationships with your exes, trying to impress your mom, trying to get invited to your sister's wedding, or trying to dismantle a cult that is popped up in your old skate park that is ran by a giant bear. Yes, there's a lot to this game, but just to check off the marks, I will say this. Performance-wise, the game is really impressive, considering there's so much unusual and unique movement. I will say that. Jala herself just moves in a different way that you wouldn't expect. Like, she flips downstairs at times, and when she's about to go into combat, she does this cartwheel where she also kicks off her jacket. Not to mention the fact that this game has some over-the-top summons with just some crazy animations that are really fun and that really bring a new life to the game, as well as the game just being stylistic in general. But it performs really well. And like I said, graphically, the game looks really good. All of these animations and that cel-shaded graphics just work really well for this game. And it's not like there's a lot of complex skateboard moves, but I was really happy to see there was no lag, no drop, or no issues while skating around and doing some pretty epic stuff. Ultimately, I have to say that this is a great game. I went in not really expecting to like it that much. Yeah, I kind of felt like it was maybe a little bit more on the emotional side, and there wouldn't be enough for like just a hardcore gamer like myself. But aside from finding my future wife, I also did find a really fun, engaging game that I would really put high up on the level, especially for the price, as it is only like $20. This game is like a 9 out of 10 for me. And it's definitely a game that I would recommend again and again and again. So, quick channel update. I'm going to try to be getting more content out. I've said that, and this has been my goal for like the last 2 months or so, but just so many things have happened. But I just wanted to tell you guys, I'm trying to get back to having a video out every other day, or maybe every 2 days, something like that, where I'm just a little bit more consistent instead of one video at the beginning of the week, one at the end, and maybe one on a Saturday. I've definitely had a situation where I've chosen games that like maybe kind of missed for me and I've wasted too much time on them. But at the same time, I also want to say that I feel like my reviews themselves have been better because I've put in far more time into reviewing the games instead of just trying to rush through them. Like, I definitely feel more confident in the reviews that I'm putting up now than I did maybe a year ago, or even definitely 2 years ago. I'm definitely taking my time with these games, but at the same time, I'm not able to put out as much content. And I'm trying to avoid doing sale videos because I think there's already a market for that, and there's already people who are much better than I am at doing it. So I've just been trying to find a type of filler video, you know, not filler, but just something that isn't a review or maybe a first impression, something like that that I can kind of throw in here and there. But at the same time, I am a reporter now. I'm a part-time journalist and a full-time dad to a 3-year-old who, you know, there's that whole aspect of like, oh, well, spend time with him. That's important. No, my daughter is literally codependent. Like, I pretty much have to exist with her at all times. She's afraid to sleep by herself. She'll wake up every 2 hours if I'm not there. And even if I am there, she'll still wake up every 2 hours, like looking for me. Like, where are you? I'm right here. Haven't moved. You know what I'm saying? So that affects everything. But it's something I'm going to fix and really work on. I'm going to work on being more interactive. being more active on my channel as far as talking to y'all, which I really appreciate all of you guys for your comments and everything else. It really, it means the world to me. It really does. And it makes me feel bad when I'm like, oh, I missed that. I didn't reply. Or it could have been like a week or a month and I reply. I hate that. I hate when I do that, but just know that I'm trying to improve that and I'm trying to work on consistency. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I love each and every one of you. By the way, if you're still not like sold on Thirsty Suitors, it is a really good game. You should definitely check it out. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Love y'all. Bye-bye.